Hello, everybody. Welcome to the next episode of The Construction Show. We are here in Las Vegas filming at CONEXPO, and our next featured guest is Major. And joining me first is their president, Bernard Betts. Welcome to The Construction Show, Bernard.
Thank you very much.
How has the event been for, I guess this is the first day, so how's the kickoff been?
You're absolutely right. It is the first day, and I am really impressed with the turnout so far. We are in the first 3 hours of the show, and turnout is huge. From where we're sitting, I would say just within my eyeballs, there's more than 200 people roaming nearby.
That's
Key
amazing.
Customers have come by the booth, so I'm really happy.
Great. Sounds like it'll be a great return already then.
My fingers are crossed, but so far it's always paid off.
Nice. I guess just to get into it, so just an overview for people.
Mm-hmm.
We did a shorter product promo last year.
Mm-hmm.
So just to give an overview of what Major brings to the construction market, we'll start with that and kind of get into the products that you offer.
Okay. I'll try not to get too much into the details. The way I explained it to family members who are not in construction,
Perfect.
Okay, might be the way to start this conversation. If you look at quarries or mines, okay, when people buy product, they don't just turn around and say, oh, I want pieces of iron ore. For transportation reasons, there are certain sizes that they need it delivered in.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in quarries and you're buying rocks, and let's say your contract will end up being for making roads, again, there's a size criteria, let's say a 1/4 inch rock. Well, how do you take all these giant pieces of products, such as rock, salt, copper, you name it, and break it down to the size the customer wants? Well, you run it through what we call screen media. And we are the manufacturers of screen media. So that's what Major is all about. Major is all about, creating screens that fit inside these very giant boxes.
Yep.
That vibrate like crazy, allowing the rocks, I'm thinking quarries, allowing the rocks to basically glide down the surface. Our screens vibrate, so they're actually bouncing off the surface and looking for an opening. And if you go through that opening, then we did our job. That means that is the size we're looking for. And if it doesn't go through the opening, it means, oops, too big, needs to be crushed again, recirculated, and come through the product one more time.
Right, and that's a great explanation. So for that screening media, what makes yours so unique to the market as well?
In the early days, this concept of vibrating screens was very new. And let's say when I joined the company in 2017, when people said, oh, I hear about these vibrating screens, we were one of the only producers. And since then, our competition has created their own versions of all that. So it's all about, how efficient is the one you're buying? How much does it vibrate? How much surface area are the rocks exposed to? And it sounds a little bit like, okay, getting too much detail here, Bernard, but no. If you're picturing a whole bunch of rocks coming down a screen, if they're kind of bouncing off of each other and not touching the screen, they don't have any chance of going through, so you're kind of wasting that time and that energy. So if there was a way of spreading it evenly so they all have a chance to get through one of the holes on that screen, that's what you'd want. And our screens did that. By vibrating, it allowed a better flow and therefore more product getting through, which is what the customer wants.
Yes.
Is that good enough as an answer?
I think that's good, and just to touch on too, so Major in 2012, just going into that, so it is part of the Haver and Becker group. I'm gonna
pronounce it Haver and Boker.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
In 2014, Haver and Boker bought 50% of Major.
Okay.
And loved what they saw. Bought the other 50% 2 years later. So as of 2016, owns 100% of Major. And basically turned around and said, okay, we, Haver and Boker, we make screens for other reasons, but you guys at Major are very focused on mining, very focused on the quarries.
Yep.
So we're going to have you guys always represent us in those sectors.
Nice.
And that's how basically Major goes to market.
And then how has the growth been in the segment, in the sector for you as well? Have you been seeing some pretty good uptick as well?
Yeah, the reason that Major was attractive to Haver and Boker was that the brand name was like top of the line. It was recognized. It was associated with quality. So really, as a president, I was given the mandate: protect the brand at all costs. We're giving you something that has a fantastic brand name because the product is fantastic.
Yes.
It's not one of those things that you sell and the customer is like, yeah, that's nice. It's one of those things that you sell and the customer tries it and falls in love with, you know?
Yes.
It makes it easy for a president, right?
Yes.
President wants to be proud of his product, right? It's easy to motivate your team if you're proud of the product.
Well,
that's what I inherited.
And sort of the theme, the overarching theme too, just like the people that make major and like the products that are so. I'm not going to use the word it is a premium. It really is a premium. Premium product 100%. To the market, which we love covering that. And like you say, when you can be proud of that and the brand and the people, it makes all the difference. Even like. On our side, we're a small company, but even seeing like this setup now for that, it's such a different experience because you just know the quality is going to be amazing every time.
Yeah, and it makes it really easy for me to recruit people that I want on my team.
Right.
I'm not desperate, you know?
Yes.
I can turn around and say, I've got a great company with a great brand and a great product. You would want to work for me. So, let me explain to you why we say that. Why do we think we're great? The employee listens, let's call it a prospective employee listens and say, I like where you guys are going. Whether it's a younger employee that will be interested in sustainability issues, you know, or somebody who's been in the market for a long time and says, no, I know your product. I've always wanted to sell that product because I'm not going to be pulling anybody's leg. I really am selling them the best.
Yes.
And it allows us to attract really good people.
Yeah, and that's where you get to see that big growth. And probably more to come.
If you have great people, you know what's going to happen next, right? So company is only as good as its people, and we really have a wonderful team.
And on that note, we're actually going to start bringing in some people in different parts of your team. So we're actually going to bring in Ian Edwards next, and he'll be the first of a few people on this episode. So then we'll have him on, and we can kind of get into more of the product side.
That sounds great. Ian's our vice president of sales, and he's definitely the right person to have up here next.
Excellent. Ian, welcome back.
Thank you so much, Rory. Nice to see you again.
Good to see you. And Bernard and I were talking everything skiing and like the craziness that you guys. I'm kidding. We didn't get into any of that at all. But I guess we wanted to get into more of the product side of it. So maybe to start, what could you say about like the modular heavy duty frames as an example, like kind of like how that's evolved?
Yeah, I think one of the things that Major does well is like we're not kind of stuck in like one area. We're not just doing one thing. We want to develop, we want to like move forward, and it's not so much about just doing something for our own sake. It's really about the customer that we're working with. What are the challenges that they're facing? And that kind of led us with FlexMat Modular and a client where, you know, the way we do it, you have wire and you have polyurethane. So there's two different variables at play. Depending on the application, the environment that you're in, the wire might wear out before the frame might wear out before the wire. So you can't have just one specific product and build it only one way. You have to have different variables. So we very much like to work with the customers, get our R&D team involved and say, hey, what is the challenge that you're facing? What is the application that you're using? What's the environment? Is it cold? Is it sunny? Is it wet? Is there water? And really working with them to find the right application to get the results that they want. So, you know, we've had challenges where we've had to figure out how to make a better polyurethane. The frame wasn't good enough.
Okay.
It was dying before the wire. Okay, well, we need to go and we need to work with R&D and we need to try some new things to figure out how we can get them what they need. So doing a lot of that type of thing really brings like a different partnership or a connection with the customer because they see that you're actually trying to help them. You're doing something that's costing you money, but you're doing it because you're hoping you can solve the problem that they have. So,
and there's more than one level to that, right? You just mentioned the frame. We had what we would call our regular frame, and then there was demand for something more robust. Can you build a heavy-duty frame?
Okay.
Right? That was the context of your question. But we also all of a sudden had a customer where the polyurethane strips along the product, which should never wear out first. The steel should wear out first, and one customer comes along and says, no, it's the other way around. We said, that's not possible. We have thousands of customers. That's not what happens. Well, it does. So we send somebody over there. Son of a gun, he's right. You know, what's going on over here? Why is this different than all other sites? And it's only after a lot of testing that we realized for some reason in that quarry, his product is a lot more acidic than anywhere else.
Mm.
And it was the acids. And it caused us to rethink our polyurethane. We should have a version that if a customer has an extremely acidic product, rock, different kinds of rock, limestone could be really
crazy the changes
I
that
know.
happen in
It could even happen
business.
from one end of a quarry to another end. So when we realized, okay, we can adapt the polyurethane levels to react to this acid content and offer a better product. So now we literally can adapt to the customer's needs, and the customer might not know it. We will know it when we install and say, we should probably use a polyurethane that's different here.
So you take that one example and you can adapt that for all the future applications that you see that.
And there weren't a lot of them in this case.
No.
But now we knew they existed.
The is that part of like the Optimum Wire Plus? What is?
So that's in the same context, right?
Okay.
That is a scenario where like the frame, the polyurethane is lasting long enough using the heavy duty frame, let's say for example, but the wire isn't lasting long. Okay, we need a different wire. We need a heavier duty or a stronger wire. So how do we do that? So again, go back to the R&D team. We do a lot of things in-house, different testing, and understanding what we're working with, and then here we have a different concept.
Yes.
Let's put it out there. Let's do a trial and let's see if it lasts. And then if it does, now we have Optimum Wire Plus. Now we have another variable. We put that with a heavy duty frame. Now we're solving a whole nother bag of problems that we might have with different clients. Go out and spread that around, and it starts to take off. So it's the same context, just one's the wire, one's the frame, different variable, different environment.
I would add one more variable to all this. We're talking about the product and how we can adapt the product to the customer's need. But the only reason we can really pull that off is that we offer territory managers that visit the customer.
Right.
And I think when we were talking earlier about the branding of the company, Major, and we're lucky we have a great product, but we also are successful because we will go to the sites. We have a work team, we call them territory managers, who will visit you on site and try and understand what your needs are, talk to our R&D, and allow us to adapt our product to specific needs. So we're not only about a product, we're about a service that our competition is not offering.
Yes.
So the competition is hoping you know what product you want, you order it from them, they'll ship it.
Probably in bulk, to order a whole bunch in bulk. And just like on the steel side.
Based on your normal expectations. But if something varies, now all of a sudden it's like, what do we do? In our case, when there's variation, a special need, a special problem, and that's the way I like to talk about it. If you have a problem, we're the perfect fit for you because we are problem solvers.
Yes.
The TMs really serve as an extension. Like, yes, they're an extension of us, but they're an extension of the dealer back to us and to the end user, right? Like we use the word partnership, and I think it gets used loosely sometimes, but
definitely
it's really
on your side.
It's how we build the whole model is really around that, right? It's how do we make things easier for the end customer? If we're doing that, we're being successful.
Right.
Isn't that a trend though right now? Forget just our world. I think it's harder and harder to get good service.
Oh,
right? Is that a fair statement?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I think where the premium is playing a big part of it. I know even like as a personal consumer, it's like I will look for something that is going to be more if they can show me it's going to last longer.
Yeah.
If it's going to be customized to my needs, whether it's vehicles, clothing, like there's so many aspects of it now. It's like it's really I do think it's really changing now because especially with like products like this, like you want something that what that time frame is going to be.
Yeah. I think most general consumers feel like that. You're paying more and getting less.
Yes.
And I think it's to Bernard's point, right? It's where we've always had this approach. This is not a new approach, but we're hearing more about it where everyone's like, wow, you guys are always there. You're always okay. It's not a different approach. It's just the environment has changed where not as many people are doing that. So it's standing out more that's part of our general
like
culture.
Click a button, order it. It's going to show up maybe.
Right.
Hopefully. Right. And then, but you're bringing in that customer data so that you can actually update or have new products go out.
And there's advantages,
crucial.
don't get me wrong, to that like part of that Amazon feel. Like there is definitely part of that there's some advantage. But you can't lose the connection. You can't lose the human connection. It can't be removed, right? It means something still.
Like the RFID chip it's a really handy feature. The app is a really handy feature, but it has to be part of the
bigger
overall.
picture.
Yeah, if you don't understand the concept, what you're trying to accomplish, and you don't have someone who can explain to you the results and why they're happening based upon the product that you're using, getting that information is actually useless to you. So it absolutely plays a huge part.
Yeah. I always like to make parallels with other industries. Picture that you have always loved Ford. and you're going to buy the newest Ford truck, and you're just so excited about it. You buy it, and for some reason, after a week, you're realizing there's something that's just not right. Wouldn't it be nice that instead of you contacting Ford, Ford contacted you and said, hey, it's been a week, how's the truck? And you turn around and say, well, it's great, except there's this one rattle. We'll send somebody over tomorrow. Oh, I don't have to bring it to you. No. Somebody's coming over to your house tomorrow. You show us what the rattle is. If that happened, wouldn't more people buy Ford?
You would think.
Yeah. And because probably of the sheer size of their industry, that would be practically mission impossible. But for us, the size of company we are, not mission impossible.
Feasible.
So when you buy our screens and say, hey, I've been buying your screens for a long time, I really do like your screens, but I've got a problem, and I don't know, I didn't have this problem before. And we say, we're going to send a territory manager tomorrow. And now they're getting a service that my competition can't give them.
Yeah. I think from here we'll go into a bit more actually on like putting out the stories on like the marketing side with Ariane. Ian, it's great to see you again
you as
on
well,
the
Rory.
show.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. And Bernard, we'll get into the marketing side a little bit more, and then we'll get more into actually we're going to get more into like even like what you bring to those customers as well on you call it free, but it's a crucial service you bring. So that's coming as well. So
fantastic.
Thanks again.
Thanks a lot, Rory.
Ariane, good to have you on the construction show too.
Good to be here.
Excellent. So obviously you're in your role is it head of marketing now? What's your actual role with Major?
Yeah, so I'm the marketing manager now at Major. Yeah.
Nice. So you had to do with all this fun.
Yeah, this was all me. It's all this craziness.
Yeah. It's a great booth this year. It's easy to find you, of course, which is fantastic. What brought you to Major? When did you start with the company and everything?
So I started. It's going on 4 years now.
Nice.
And what brought me to Major? Well, I have no background in the industry that we're in, but I was looking for a position in marketing that was like I could really try a bunch of different things, learn a lot of stuff.
Yes.
And so I heard about this position, and when I was interviewing for the job, all the people that I met with, I really felt were very down to earth. People that I felt I wanted to be working 5 days a week with.
Yeah.
And then what really got me too was when they were speaking with me, they were so passionate about the products that we were selling.
Yeah.
Like people that work at Major are very passionate about our FlexMat screens, very passionate about what they've seen them do for people in the industry. So for me, especially working in marketing, you want to work with a product that people believe in. So.
It goes hand in hand, the sales and the marketing, even though there's a lot of times you see them siloed and kind of there's this ongoing battle.
Yeah.
When they work hand in hand, it's magic.
And what's interesting, you said the word HR. So her early part of the interview was with HR people who were talking about the passion for our product.
Yeah.
When she got to the point where she's interviewing with me, Ariane is the same age as my youngest daughter.
Okay.
So I took a chance. I said, okay, my daughter would like to hear this, so let's see if Ariane would like to hear this too. And I said, Ariane, one of the ways I would like to sell the company to you is that, and it's our conversation we had earlier, Rory, this product will make you proud. You're never going to feel like, I've got to pitch this. I'm going to exaggerate.
No.
I'm going to put too much icing on the cake. The cake needs icing, and I need to hide the cake.
Yep.
This product really is something to be proud about.
Yeah.
It sells itself. As soon as
Absolutely.
the customer is willing to try it, it sells itself. So I really felt that mattered to you, right?
It did. Yeah, I feel like you want to be selling something that you believe in, like I said before, and
yes.
And that people want to be working it with and that they're proud to work with. So
telling the stories on the marketing side it makes it probably easier too. You probably have, I'm sure you've been able to use like good customer testimonials, things like that too, which has probably been really helpful.
We have lots of those, and our dealers help us get those. Obviously, they're meeting all the clients, they're seeing all the great stuff happening with the successes that we've had. So.
Have you noticed changes in the industry since you started? Like, what has kind of like stood out to you since you've had the 4 years going with Major as well?
So one big change that we've seen is there's a lot of newer people coming into the industry that maybe don't have that same background. Like it's been years
since COVID.
Yeah. So a lot of people, it was like industry they grew up in, and they're like business was passed down in the family, but really we're seeing a lot of new people coming in, and so with Major we put a big focus on making sure our reps are properly trained. We have our Major Academy, and then we also have same thing for our dealers. So we're making sure that they're properly trained on the product before they go out into the field and, speak about it. And then also our end users, we have free training sessions that we do. We call them SMSs.
Okay.
So screen maintenance seminars, and we train them on like best practices with the product. We go out and do actual classrooms, and then sometimes we'll go in the quarry and run through the whole process and like where to look and what's wrong and everything.
Right.
So that focus on training, it's a huge shift.
Yeah. And going back a little bit onto the marketing side, just for fun, because it's great when you have like that going with the sales. What does a major brand stand for? Like when you're pushing that out on like that marketing scale, how do you use that?
Yeah, so it's a really good question. I mean, if I put it into a few words, I would say the major brand stands for innovation, consistent quality, and support.
Yeah.
So we've been around for over 140 years. Companies don't survive that long unless they're continuously like innovating, adapting to the market, changing. And so that's really what we've had to do. We've had to overcome a lot of changes in the market. And, when we came out with our FlexMat product, it changed the industry. It made a huge impact on the industry.
Well, you don't operate like that company that's been around for 140 years. I would say you operate it seems much faster. And you could probably attest to this too. It doesn't seem like that, like kind of that old stalwart. It's actually like you guys are moving, especially with what the clients need.
Yeah, 100%. I think we have a very young CEO. Okay, our CEO Nicholas Halver, 40 years old, very much in tune with the market from his perspective and wanting to bring that perspective, to all our customers and all our dealers. And concepts like, for example, sustainability will really, really matter to him, right? Quality and service, which goes all hand in hand. But I think you touched on R&D. He saw in Major a product that was really different than everybody else's, right? We talked about these vibrating screens earlier, and at the time, we were the only one doing this, and that's what he wanted, was innovation. So 100%. I think that innovation culture has led to a team that's very, very focused on, okay, we got on the map because of innovation. If we want to stay on the map, we got to keep innovating.
Absolutely.
Do you use the sustainability piece too on like the marketing side? Is that like a thing that you focus on too, as that's a big part of it?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's something that's up and coming. Like it's growing, and
nice.
What's cool is naturally our products have a sustainability impact on our operators. So
yes,
when you're working with FlexMat, because of that extra stratification that's happening, you're virtually eliminating blinding and pegging, which helps obviously the rocks to find their hole, and less carryover. So, that's cutting down also on having to shut off the operation and return it back on. So you're saving energy that way. And then with the less carryover, you're getting less waste from having to replace parts from, getting worn out from recirculating so much.
And it's an angle we never thought of until you brought it up. She used the right word, stratification. Earlier I talked about, okay, the rocks, because of the vibrating screens, will bounce down the screen, and they're looking for an opening. That's stratification, okay? And in the end, we realized if we can get as many of those rocks to go through those openings on a first pass, then there doesn't need to be a second pass and a third pass. You're saving electricity, as you've said. You're also saving wear and tear. So the rocks are not going back to a crusher when they don't really need to go back to the crusher. They should have fallen through one of those holes. And then she turned around and says, that's part of sustainability, right? You're making it more efficient. And went,
yeah, exactly. It is a huge piece. And in a way, a lot of companies, like, especially in the more premium, that like last longer. I was doing one with Hardox, and same thing, because you're using less. If you're using less steel, all of a sudden, it's a game changer for all of that. If your product lasts longer, or it doesn't need as much processing, it's so true. Ariane, thank you so much for joining to talk about. We don't actually get to talk about like the marketing side that often on these episodes, so it's great to have you part of this. We're going to actually bring in Ryan Pinter next, and he's going to talk about He's actually going to talk about the free services you offer to the clients and dealers. We touched on that a little bit with Ian. But we're going to get into that with him in detail. And thanks again.
Yeah, thank
Fantastic.
you, Rory. It's been great.
Ryan, welcome into the construction show. We've been going through a whole bunch of segments. So marketing, customer support. Obviously, you've been covering the products.
quality.
Product quality is huge. So you kind of focus on your goal is kind of like going through what the clients get when they use major products, correct?
Yeah, I would say that's a fair assessment. Correct. Yes.
Okay. What are some key areas of focus that you do for those clients in different segments? Oh, we're at CONEXPO, so like construction, but going into mining, quarrying.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we have a wide array of things that I can answer here with, but I mean, the first one that probably comes to my mind would be like plant audits.
Okay.
That's something that we offer to all of our customers. I
Yep.
mean, especially the dealers, right? We have one of our certified territory managers that will assist the dealer. They will go out to the end user. They'll take a look at the entire operation, the whole circuit, to try and identify areas for improvement or efficiencies.
Okay, so that seems much better than if I'm just trying to like figure it out and order off the shelf. So you actually can go through and figure out, okay, what is going to be the best, what's going to be the best setup, what's
Yep.
going to be the best product in the different scenarios.
Exactly. I mean, I can say with full confidence that some of our territory managers can literally go out to a plant and assess it entirely within 25 minutes. I mean,
That quick.
they can just hear things and say, oh, no, that's not correct. You got to change that for
Really?
XYZ reason.
Oh, okay. Is it typically, is that kind of the starting point of like long relationships with those clients when they actually go through that and make those updates?
It's one of them, but I would say the most important thing about that is that it gives us credibility.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, there's nothing worse than having an expert come on site and not being able to assist you.
Yes.
When we have one of our TMs go on site and they're able to do a full plant assessment, the person who we're trying to sell to, we're trying to sell them a solution, and they say, hey, wait a second, these guys know what they're talking about. They're not just here to sell me a product.
Mm-hmm. And Ariane also mentioned like you have screening maintenance seminars as well. So that's like teaching the clients of like what does that entail as well for the clients?
Yeah, it's kind of in the same vein, just a little different. Whereas the plant audit is really on site, in the pit, telling people where they can have their efficiencies. A screen maintenance seminar is more oriented in a classroom.
Mm-hmm.
It's a presentation. We'll go over the installation of flex mats, the do's and don'ts. We'll go over general screening maintenance with flex mat, amongst many other things. Typically, it's not uncommon to have, no joke, 100 people at a time when we're giving a seminar.
Okay, so you bring in a lot of people for those.
Yep.
There's an evolution too, if you don't mind me cutting in.
Yeah, I was gonna perfect timing.
The original concept was what Ryan just explained. You know, we're going to come in here, tell you about our product and how our product could be good for you.
Yes.
And over time, and especially since COVID, there's been a big turnaround of staff. And we realized that, this service that we have where we show up and we want to talk to you about the advantages of FlexMan, and by the way, do you have any problems here in your quarry that we could address, has also kind of morphed into, hey, I'm the plant manager, I have a lot of new staff. Can we do this training from scratch? Because a lot of these people have never even been exposed to it.
Because they're so new in the industry, right?
Bingo. So we're bringing all of a sudden training to the scene, which was not the original plan, but is a need.
Mm-hmm.
So the process we already had filled that need.
Yep. I mean, I would say that in the 4.5 years that I've been here, one thing that I've learned about the SMSs is that it's probably our number one sales tool, actually.
Okay.
It was a training session to help educate people. And time after time, we have an SMS, and that directly translates to people coming after and saying, hey, I had no idea about that. Thank you so much. Can I get you on site? Can you bring your product? I want to see how that works.
Yeah. So they're just like, okay, now that we understand, we need to get updating. And then you have things like you've got the RFID chips, which we've talked about before. You've got the app. You've got the online quoting tool. So you're really there when the customer needs you. You've kind of got it all. However they need to contact you, you've got that set up.
Exactly. And I mean, I think that the online tool is a great example of where we don't even need to be there for the customer. They can do everything themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we just give them a profile. They log into the portal. They are able to, quote, flex mat themselves. If they want to, quote, modular, they can. If they want to, quote, woven wire, they can. But in addition to that, they also have access to all of their history. They can check if orders have shipped. So, I mean, the customers who really use a tool to its full extent barely communicate with us. They do. It's true.
That's what happened. Like, it is interesting. Some people want that communication ongoing. Other people just want to be able to.
It's the maturity of the customer.
Yes.
If the customer has not had a lot of turnaround and has been doing business for a long time and knows FlexMat, then we can give them the option of go online and order what you need. Have the Amazon experience, if you want to call it that. But if a customer has a lot of, let's say he's growing and he's entering a part of the state he's never been in before, new staff, and he wants really, that staff has never been introduced to vibrating screens. So invite us over. We'll do this with your staff, and we're going to get them not only to understand our product, but understand all the services that we offer with our product.
Excellent.
So we adapt basically to the needs.
Yeah. That's great. Ryan, thank you so much for coming in. And again, people will have everybody's connected. We'll have all your information in for connecting with you, and obviously all the links to everything. We're going to bring on for the last guest, Kevin Laporte. So, and do I have his information right? He is
Mr. R&D.
Oh, Mr. R&D.
Yeah.
So,
but he's got a really bad sense of humor. Are we sure we want to put him on?
We could probably crack him up.
I would risk it.
Okay, we'll risk
listen,
it.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a real pleasure. Sincerely, I would love to do it again. Anytime you guys need me, I'm here for you.
Sounds good. Hi, Kevin. Welcome to the Construction Show. And you're, I don't want to say the final guest in this segment, but you are, and you cover a very important area. So you're R&D manager, or you do product overview for R&D? Maybe explain to the audience what it is that you're covering for Major.
I think he just said we saved the best for last. That's what I heard him say.
I think you got it right. So anything that has to do with the product, any improvement that we want to make, any features we'd like to add, essentially just pretty much anything that touches on the product.
Okay.
It could be down to how we manufacture it, up to what the customer is actually going to get and feel in the end.
Okay, excellent. So it's basically all being developed. So is this ongoing for multiple products that you always have new things that are coming in on the R&D side that you're testing essentially?
I wouldn't say that we're releasing products all that often. It's more that we're trying to tweak things here and there. There are a couple of things that we're working on. So the materials would be one of them. We're always looking for more durability. We're looking at not just providing a product that is good for everybody. We're trying to get into, okay, for your specific application, we need to work on this aspect. For your specific application, we need to work on that aspect to get the most out of it. So
we talked about that, the acidic part, you had to update the product material because of an acidity that was happening at one of the products.
Correct.
So you would take that information, then you have to go through and start
Precisely.
updating.
And this is how the advanced PU was born, essentially. So it's out of that need to improve the durability of the PU for these specific applications.
And we really think that differentiates us from our competition.
Yeah.
We believe that we're not happy with just, this one size will fit all. They're very much one size fits all. They call it the near fit approach. Whereas we are, nope. That's the opposite of us. We are very much custom. We will make our product fit your exact screen box, and then we're going to watch how it operates, and we're going to propose improvements. And that example that you just brought up, Rory, about, hey, rarely, but sometimes their product is a lot more acidic than anybody else's. How do we adapt to that? And that's how Kevin came into the picture. He's the one that figured it out.
Nice.
So on one end, we were working on the materials, but sometimes it's more about the features. Like, okay, the rocks are flowing this way. We'd like to slow the progress of the rock on top of the screens. Thus, we started adding dams. It's always what is your specific need, and we're going to try and adapt to it.
Right. Yeah, I saw a note on here in the notes. So it's certain material you need to slow that down. So you have to add dams on the screens so that you don't more of it goes through that first pass.
Correct. So the wash plants would be one of those applications that we see where it's not necessarily about screening efficiency per se. It's more about we need to have enough time for the material to get properly washed and tumble.
Yes.
And this is where this came from, essentially.
Isn't it an interesting example, though? Because it's not common to a lot of other ways that we've innovated. In this case, the customer came to us and said, we want dams. And we're like, we don't see how this helps. Like, our
Oh,
product
really?
shouldn't need this. They're like, no. Let us explain to you why you do want dams. And we're like, okay, we're listening.
Yeah.
And we tried it. We were able to do it. And we watched it. And we said, son of a gun.
So with that what were they processing? Like, what type of material was that? Is it like a quarry that they needed it for?
It's nothing out of the ordinary.
No.
It's just they're looking into cleaning this material. Sometimes it's because there's a lot of dust and you need a lot of washing time to get this removed, or it's sticky material, so we need a bit more time to just make sure that you break those aggregates into smaller pieces.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, people look at these products and they find other applications that we did not think of.
So
we come up with a product and they tell us we can use this for something you didn't think of, which is kind of cool too.
Yeah. Sometimes I heard one of the people on the show earlier say, oh, we're the experts. I'm not sure I always buy that. I think the expert's actually a customer.
Yeah, they really do. They do have the winning.
That's what they're doing all the time, right? Yep. And so they come to us and they say, okay, we have this situation we're not too sure what to do with. We're more the problem solver. I think the expert is the customer. We're the problem solver. And when they came to you and they said, we need to slow this down, we're like, slow this down? Yeah, we need to slow this down. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then they proposed the concept of a dam, and we tried it, and it worked.
Then, and on the technology side too, are you involved with like the RFID and like the app side of it as well?
I am.
Okay. So you're kind of everything R&D then, along.
If it touches the product, then I'm going to be involved in some measure.
Okay.
Yeah. RFID is really interesting because we're the first to bring that to market. Nobody else is bringing it right now, and you kind of have to realize that when the product is worn out. Picture that you're very high up on a tower, you're the maintenance person, and today's the day you're going to have to rip that screen out and put in a brand new screen. The old screen that's all worn out, you're literally throwing it to the ground. You finish the job, and you say, well, I better order some screens for next time. You walk up to the old screen, you've installed the new one. You don't have access to the labels. It's installed, it's running. You don't want to stop it. So you look at the old screen, it's so worn out, there's not enough information to figure out, well, what size was
it's
this?
It's basically unrecognizable at that point.
Yeah, it's all worn out. You walk up to the RFID screen where you know where the RFID chip where you know it's embedded with your phone, and as long as you can get your phone close to that location, it sends you the information about the screen. So now you easily reorder. You have everything you needed to know.
That part of it is amazing. We actually demonstrated it on the first episode we did with Major too. The other thing too, do you have sensors being used in some of the screening applications as well? Is that part of the process?
If you're referring to the we call it the vibration sensor.
Yeah,
is
exactly.
What we're using.
Yes.
So this is a device that is used to get like parameters for your machine out really quick.
Okay.
It's a quick assessment of the situation. It's not meant necessarily to go really in depth.
Okay.
It's just you put it on there, and really quickly you're able to say, okay, this is my acceleration on my machine. This is my stroke. This is my RPM. You can look at the 4 different corners of your machine and see how they operate. And you can tell just by looking at this, is your level okay on your machine? Do you have more material flowing to one end?
Oh, okay.
Like, it is possible that material tends to flow on one side, which is undesirable. You want it to stay in the middle. So all those little details you can get. If you drill further down into the report, there's an obscure area that is less understood, but that you can actually use.
That's your sweet spot, isn't it?
That is precisely.
Okay.
That is my area.
Meaning that you're not understood.
That is precisely correct. So in that particular detailed area of the report, which people don't necessarily feel comfortable going into, but I like to keep in touch with people. I like to encourage people to go over to me and discuss what is in there. So one of the things that you can do, even though you don't understand what is in one particular graph, you can see the progression over time. It's very easy to tell the difference between a machine that is operating very well from one that seems to be developing issues. And if you just look at the pattern over time, you can tell, okay, this machine, I have seen this pattern before, so I know this is going to happen.
How long would you run that test for on a screen to get that?
It's very quick.
Okay.
It takes a few seconds for each corner. You don't even have to stop your machine.
Okay.
Like, you can leave the rocks running. You just slap it on there.
Nice.
Press play.
Okay.
And you get the results. What I like to tell people is that if you suspect that something is wrong with the machine, however, it's good to have the measurement taken when you have material flowing on your machine, but it's also good to compare that with when there's no material on that machine.
Yeah.
'Cause this way you get to know, okay, is this issue a result of the material flowing down,
Right.
or is this issue is coming from the machine itself?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's be super clear, because the word screen is used for two different things, okay? The screen media that we make, the screen or screen box that you install it
Yeah.
in. The
Yes.
sensor we're talking about right now is applied to the screen box to make sure it is calibrated properly so
Okay.
that you can get the most out of your operation, and that our
Yes.
screens will therefore be operating at their best.
Nice.
And he's basically saying that by having developed this tool and putting it in the hands of our dealers,
Yep.
our dealer is not only selling the screen that's inside that screen box, but it's also saying, hey, is this screen box operating at its best? Because if the answer is no, they might think, oh, it's the screen media that's not operating well. We're like, no, hold on a second. Let's check to make sure the machine's running well. Then we'll talk about the screen media.
Right.
So it's a tool to generate conversation to see if things are all operating at high efficiencies, and that's what we're trying to sell. It's a product that will give you the highest efficiency possible. Did I say
Yeah.
that right?
That is correct.
I've had an engineer tell me I'm
Surprisingly
correct. Having a good day.
Yeah, and gentlemen, thank you so much. I don't want to take up too much more of your time because, well, thank you so much for sitting in. It's been great getting your perspective with all the different guests. So I think, and I know you have a lot of people that you got to go visit as well, because this show is just getting going. So it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's been kind of fun sitting here and seeing everybody walk by. So thank you also, Rory, for hosting. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed this very, very much. Even with you, Kevin.
Surprisingly enough.
Kevin, thank you so much. And yeah, basically, thanks for co-hosting. It was excellent.
I warned you to talk
can't-
too much.
No. We'll do it again sometime. Thank you, everybody, for watching the construction show. Again, filming at CONEXPO. Watch this on all your favorite platforms, YouTube, podcast platforms, wherever it is. Make sure you subscribe to Crowns and Partners, and we will see you on the next episode of the construction show. Thank you.